I married a poor carpenter because my father begged me to. Then I found a black card in his wallet with a billionaire's name. Every night, my quiet husband whispered in a language I did not know. Then his brother came. Not to our door, in a black car. He offered me $5 million to betray my own husband. My father called my husband a tool, his brother called him a liar. No one asked me the truth. So I made a choice, not for money, not for family, a choice that would either free us or bury us forever. My name is Sophia, and I am going to tell you a story that still makes my hands shake when I pour my morning coffee. It is a story about love, about hate, but mostly about silence. The silence of a man who promised me nothing and gave me everything without ever saying a word. I am 47 years old now. My hair has gray streaks. My hands have wrinkles. I live in a small white house on a hill in Oregon, surrounded by pine trees and the sound of birds. Every morning, I wake up next to the same man. Every morning, I thank God that I did not run away when I had the chance. But to understand the peace, you must first understand the storm. When I look back, I still see myself at 22. I was a girl who had grown up in a big house in Connecticut, a house with white columns and a lawn that looked like a green ocean. My father, Arthur, was a man who measured the world in dollars. He was not a cruel man, but he was a practical one. To him, a daughter was an investment, and an investment must be placed wisely. I had dreams once, small dreams. I wanted to study art history. I wanted to go to Paris and stand in front of a Monet painting until my eyes hurt from the beauty. I wanted to fall in love with a man who wrote me poetry. I wanted to dance in the rain without caring who was watching. But my father laughed at all of that. "Art does not pay the bills, Sophia," he would say, sitting in his leather chair with a glass of whiskey. "A rich husband pays the bills. Love is a fairy tale for poor people. We are not poor. We are Morgans, we build empires." So, when I was 21, my father introduced me to a string of men from good families. Bankers, lawyers, one man even owned 3 car dealerships. They were boring. They talked about stocks and golf swings and their summer houses in the Hamptons. I felt like a piece of meat hanging in a butcher shop, waiting for someone to pick me off the hook. I remember one man, Richard, who took me to a fancy restaurant. He spent the entire dinner looking at his phone. When I asked him if he had any hobbies, he said, "Making money." I asked him what made him happy. He thought for a long time and said, "A good quarterly report." I cried in the bathroom that night. My mother found me and held me, but she didn't say anything. She never said anything. Then came the summer of the storm. Not a real storm, but a financial one. My father's business partner, a man named Gerald, cheated him. Gerald ran away with nearly $8 million. Suddenly, the white columns of our house seemed less like a home and more like a tomb. The bank called every day. The servants were let go. My mother started cutting coupons. My father sat me down one evening, his face gray as the ashes in the fireplace. It was July, but the room felt cold. He looked 10 years older. His hands were shaking. "Sophia," he said, "we have to think differently. The rich men won't look at us now. Our name is bruised. Our bank account is bleeding. We are barely holding on." I felt a strange relief. "So I can go to Paris. Work in a gallery. I can earn my own money." He laughed, that dry, bitter laugh that I had learned to hate. "No, you will marry a man who needs a name. A poor man. A good man, but a poor one. It is the only way to show the world that the Morgan family is not broken. We will be seen as humble, kind. We will survive on reputation alone until I rebuild." I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the vase on the table against the wall. I wanted to run out the door and never come back. But my mother, a quiet shadow in the corner, just nodded. She had been nodding at my father for 30 years. I had no voice in that house, so I agreed. That is how I met Liam. Liam was introduced to us by a church friend of my mother's. His name was Pastor Mike. He said Liam was a good man, a hard worker, a man of few words but strong hands. He said Liam had no family, no past, no debts. He was a blank slate. When I first saw Liam, I was not impressed. He was tall, yes. He had broad shoulders, but his clothes were old. His boots were worn. His truck had rust on the doors. He stood outside our house like he was afraid to touch anything. But then he looked at me, and his eyes were different. They were the color of the ocean before a storm, deep, dark, full of something I could not name. He didn't talk about money or status. He didn't ask about my father's business or our house or our name. He asked me what my favorite smell was. Rain on hot pavement, I said, surprised by my own honesty. He smiled. It was a small smile, but it reached his eyes. Mine is sawdust and coffee, he said. That was the first time a man had ever asked me something real. My father approved immediately. Liam was poor, yes. He lived in a small rented house on the edge of town. He drove a truck from 1998. He wore flannel shirts that were faded. But he was hardworking. He had no debts. And most importantly, my father said, he will be grateful, he will never leave you. A rich man can afford to divorce. A poor man cannot. I married Liam 3 months later. It was a small wedding. No white columns. No 5-tier cake. No 500 guests. Just a courthouse, a few friends, my mother crying silent tears, and my father shaking Liam's hand like he was signing a business deal. There was no music. No dancing. No flowers except the ones I picked from the garden. I wore a simple white dress that cost $40 at a sale. Liam wore a clean flannel shirt and new boots. He looked nervous. His hands shook when he put the ring on my finger. The ring was simple silver, no diamond. He had made it himself in his workshop. That night, in Liam's small house, I sat on the edge of the bed and looked around. The walls were bare. The furniture was simple, a bed, a dresser, a nightstand. The sheets were clean but old. It smelled like sawdust and coffee. I felt a tear roll down my cheek. Liam stood by the door. He didn't come near me. He didn't try to touch me. He just stood there, his hands in his pockets, looking at the floor. "You are sad," he said, not a question, a statement. "I am fine," I lied, wiping my cheek with the back of my hand. "No," he said, "you are not, and I am sorry. I know you didn't choose this. I know you wanted a rich man, a big house, a life of parties and pretty things. I cannot give you any of that. But I promise you, Sophia, I will never hurt you. I will never raise my voice. I will never raise my hand. I will work every day to make you feel safe. That is all I have to offer." It was a strange promise, not a promise of love, a promise of safety. I didn't know then that safety was the most dangerous thing of all. The first year was not bad. It was gray, like a sky that cannot decide if it wants to rain or shine. Liam left for work at 5 a.m. He built tables, chairs, cabinets. He came home at 7 p.m., tired and smelling of wood. He would eat dinner with me, simple meals, pasta, soup, bread, sometimes chicken if we could afford it. He did not drink. He did not smoke. He did not yell. But he did not talk either. I would try. I tried so hard. "How was your day, Liam?" "Fine. Did you sell the oak table?" "Yes." "To whom?" "A family." "Where do they live?" "Nearby." That was it. A family, nearby, no names, no stories, no jokes, no sharing. I felt like I was living with a ghost who happened to make excellent furniture. I missed my old life. Not the money, but the noise. The house had been full of sound. The maids talking in the kitchen. My mother playing piano. My father yelling at the television. Even the bad sounds were better than this heavy, thick silence. Sometimes, at night, I would watch him sleep. His face would soften. He would turn his head and whisper words I could not understand. Not English, another language. It sounded old, like Latin or Russian or something else entirely. When I asked him about it in the morning, he just shook his head. "You talk in your sleep," I said once, laughing to make it seem light. "Everyone has secrets," he replied, and turned away from me in bed. That was the first time I felt a pinch of curiosity. Not love, not yet, but curiosity. A small flame in the cold fireplace of our marriage. Why was a man who made chairs with his hands so guarded? Why did he never take me to his workshop? Why did his phone never ring? Who were his parents? He never spoke of them. He had no photos, no old friends, no past at all. I tried to ask my father. One afternoon, I went to his study. He was back on his feet, small investments, nothing like before. He looked tired but proud. "Dad, what do you really know about Liam?" He looked up at me with tired eyes. "Enough. He has no criminal record. He paid cash for his truck. He doesn't owe taxes. He is a safe bet, Sophia. Stop looking for drama. You have a roof over your head. You have food. You have a husband who doesn't drink or beat you. What more do you want?" "Love," I whispered. He laughed. "Love is for movies. Grow up." But I was not looking for drama. I was looking for a soul. I was looking for a reason to stay. One day, about 14 months into the marriage, I did something I should not have done. Liam had left his wallet on the kitchen counter. This was unusual. He was a man of routine. He forgot nothing. But that morning, he had been rushing. He said he had a big order for a library in the next town. He kissed my forehead, a rare gesture, and ran out the door. The wallet sat there, brown leather, worn at the edges. It called to me. I opened his wallet. I don't know why. Maybe I hoped to find a photo of his mother. A note, a phone number. Anything that would tell me who he was when he was not being my husband. There was no photo, no note, no phone numbers, but there was a card, not a credit card. Not a driver's license. It was a black card, heavy, metal, cold to the touch. I had seen such cards before. My father's rich friends had them. They were for accounts that held millions. They were for people who never had to look at prices. My heart began to beat faster. I pulled out the card. It had a name on it, not Liam Carpenter. The name on the card was Liam Volkov. Volkov, I knew that name. Everyone in the business world knew that name. The Volkov family were Russian-American industrialists. They owned shipping ports, real estate, a private bank, 3 hotels in Manhattan. They were billionaires. And they had disappeared from the public eye about 10 years ago after a massive scandal. Fraud, tax evasion, money laundering. The patriarch Ivan Volkov had gone to prison. The family had vanished like smoke. My husband, the poor carpenter who wore flannel shirts and drove a rusted truck, was a Volkov. I put the card back exactly where I found it. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the wallet. I sat at the kitchen table for an hour, staring at the wall. The sawdust smell seemed to mock me. All this time I had been eating pasta and soup, feeling sorry for myself, while my husband carried a black metal card in his worn leather wallet. Why? Why would a billionaire's son live like this? Why would he marry me? Why would he work with his hands until they bled? That evening, Liam came home. He looked tired, dark circles under his eyes. He took off his boots and hung his jacket. He saw my face and stopped. His eyes narrowed. "What is it?" he asked. I decided to play it cool. I was not ready to confront him. I was not ready for the truth. "Nothing, just a long day. I burned the chicken." He nodded. He went to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. He pulled out eggs and bread. He started to make omelets. He was a good cook, simple but good. He worked in silence, as always. That night I did not sleep. I watched him. He whispered again in his sleep. "Nyet, ni padai," Russian. I knew it was Russian. No. Don't fall. I knew it because I had taken 1 semester of Russian in college, thinking it would impress my father. It didn't. He said Russian was for spies and communists. But now it was a key to my husband's locked heart. The next morning, I told Liam I was going to visit my mother. He nodded, kissed my forehead again, and left for work. Instead of driving to my mother's house, I drove to the city library. Not the small town library. The big one, with archives and computers and old newspapers on microfilm. I spent hours on the old newspaper computers, searching for the Volkov family. My fingers trembled on the keyboard. What I found made my blood turn to ice. Ivan Volkov had been arrested 10 years ago for fraud. He had stolen from pension funds. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Money that belonged to teachers, firefighters, nurses. He had been sentenced to 20 years in a federal prison. His wife, Elena Volkov, had died of a heart attack the day after the arrest. The newspapers said she died of shame. I wondered if she died of a broken heart. His 2 sons had vanished. The older son, Dmitri, was last seen in Switzerland. He was wanted for questioning but never found. The younger son, his name was Liam. Or rather, Liam was his American name. His birth name was Lev Volkov. Lev, the younger son, had testified against his father. He had given evidence to the FBI. He had sat in a courtroom and pointed at his own father and told the world about the stolen pensions, the hidden accounts, the lies. In return, he was given a new identity. He was told to disappear, to live a simple life, to never use the Volkov name again, to never contact anyone from his old life. My husband was a whistleblower, a traitor to his own family. He had sent his father to prison. And now he built chairs for a living. I closed the computer. I felt dizzy. The library walls seemed to spin. All those nights I had pitied him. All those nights I had felt trapped in a loveless marriage to a poor man. And he was living a life of hiding. He was not poor. He was in witness protection, or something like it. But the black card. If he was in hiding, why did he have a card linked to millions? Unless the government had given him a settlement. Unless the Volkov money was not all gone. Unless the card was a key to something much larger. I drove home slowly. My mind was a storm. Rain started to fall. Hot rain on hot pavement. I thought of my answer to his question. My favorite smell. Had he chosen me because of that? Had he seen something innocent in me? When I walked in, Liam was sitting at the kitchen table. He had not gone to work. He had both hands flat on the wood, palms down, like he was holding the table down so it wouldn't float away. He looked at me, and for the first time in our marriage, his eyes were not calm. They were wild, afraid. "You went to the library," he said. My heart stopped. "How do you know?" "I have a tracker on the car for your safety." He said it without shame. His voice was flat. "I know everything, Sophia. I know you found the card. I know you searched the Volkov name. I know you know who I am." I felt a scream building in my throat. It came out as a sob. "You lied to me. You lied to my father. You are not a poor carpenter. You are a billionaire's son. You are a traitor to your family. And you married me under false pretenses. Our whole marriage is a lie?" He did not flinch. His hands stayed flat on the table. "Yes," he said, "all of that is true, but let me finish before you hate me forever. Please, Sophia, sit down." I sat down across from him. The pasta pot was still on the stove from last night. The kitchen was silent except for the rain hitting the window. He took a deep breath. His eyes were wet. "I was born Lev Volkov," he began. His voice was soft, like he was telling a secret to himself. "My father, Ivan, was not a businessman. He was a thief and a monster. He dressed in suits and spoke of legacy and family honor, but at night, behind closed doors, he beat my mother. He beat me. He made my brother Dmitri into a copy of himself. Cruel, greedy, violent, I was the weak one. I loved to build things. I loved wood, the smell of it, the feel of it. When I was 10, I built a birdhouse. My father smashed it with his foot and called me a girl in a boy's body. He said real men break things. They don't build them. When I was 20, I saw my father hit my mother so hard that she fell and lost hearing in one ear. The blood came from her ear like a red tear. I carried her to the car. I drove her to the hospital. And the next day, I went to the FBI. I gave them everything, every file, every offshore account, every bribe, every name. I did it to save her, to get her out, but she died anyway. The stress of the trial, the shame, the fear, it killed her. Her heart gave out, and my father blamed me. He screamed from the courtroom, handcuffed, that he would find me, that the Volkov network would never let me live, that I was a dead man walking. The government gave me a new name, Liam Carpenter. They gave me a small amount of money, enough to buy a truck and rent a small workshop, enough to survive. But the Volkov family had hidden assets, billions in shell companies. Dmitri, my brother, escaped to Europe. He has been looking for me for 10 years. If he finds me, he will kill me, not because he loves my father, because I shamed the family name, because I made the Volkovs a joke. The black card you found, it is not my money. It is a trap, a lure. My father set up that account before prison with $20 million. Every time someone uses that card, it sends a signal to a private server. Dmitri has access to that server. He has been waiting for 10 years for someone to use that card so he can trace it and find me. I have never used the card, not once. I have kept it as a reminder that I am never safe. I carry it to remind myself to stay small, to stay invisible, to never want more than what I have. Tears were falling down his face now. Silent tears. He did not wipe them. I stared at him. My mouth was dry. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. "Why did you marry me?" I whispered. He looked down at his hands, the hands that built tables and chairs, the hands that had never once hit me. "Because your father came to me. He found out who I was, not my real name, but he knew I was in protection. He has connections in the State Department. He said if I married you, he would give me a new identity, a deeper cover, a fresh start. He wanted a poor, grateful son-in-law to fix his reputation after the scandal with his partner, and I wanted to disappear completely. I was tired of running. But then I met you. You asked me about my favorite smell, and you said rain on hot pavement. Do you remember? You looked at me like I was a person, not a meal ticket, like you actually wanted to know me. I knew then that I was in trouble. I fell in love with you, Sophia, Not because you were beautiful, but because you were real, and I am sorry, I am a coward. I should have told you the truth on our wedding night, but I was afraid. Afraid you would leave, afraid you would tell your father, afraid I would lose the only good thing that ever happened to me. Tears were streaming down my face now. I didn't know if I was angry or heartbroken or both. You used me, I said. My father used me, everyone used me. I am a key, a tool, a door, no one sees me. He reached across the table. His rough fingers touched mine. I see you, he said. I am the only one who is sorry. That night, I slept on the couch. I wrapped myself in a thin blanket and stared at the ceiling. I heard him crying in the bedroom. Soft, muffled sounds. He thought I couldn't hear, but I heard every sob. I did not speak to him for 3 days, 3 long, heavy days. He still went to work. He still left coffee for me in the morning. He still washed the dishes. He still made dinner. He still asked nothing of me. He was a ghost again, but now a ghost with a tragic past. A ghost I was beginning to understand. On the 4th day, something happened that changed everything. I was in the backyard, hanging laundry. It was a stupid chore I hated, but Liam didn't believe in dryers. He said they ruined the wood fibers of his clothes. The sun was hot. The grass was green. I was pinning a shirt when a black car pulled up to the curb. It was a sleek, expensive car. The kind my father used to drive before the scandal. The kind that costs more than Liam's house. The window rolled down slowly. A man sat in the back. He had the same ocean storm eyes as Liam, but colder. Harder, dead behind the blue. He had a sharp jaw, expensive suit, gold watch. He smiled, and it was like watching a wolf show its teeth before it bites. "Hello, Sophia," he said. His voice was smooth like oil. "I am Dimitri. Your husband's brother. We need to talk." I dropped the laundry basket. The wet clothes fell in the dirt. The white sheet landed in a puddle. I wanted to run inside, but my legs were frozen. My heart stopped. "Don't scream," Dimitri said. "I am not here to hurt you. I am here to help you. You see, my brother is a liar. He told you a story about a black card being a trap. It is not a trap. It is the key. There is $20 million in that account. Money that belongs to the Volkov family. Money that should be mine. But Lev, sorry, Liam, has the password. He has kept it from me for a decade. Marry me, Sophia. Divorce him and marry me. I will give you $5 million. Cash. You can go to Paris. You can see 1,000 Monets. You will never hang laundry again. You will never eat pasta for dinner again. All you have to do is get the password from him. He loves you. He will tell you. Men like him always tell the women they love. I felt sick. My stomach turned. My father's deal, Dimitri's deal. Everyone wanted to use me as a key to a lock. No one wanted me. They wanted what I could get for them. I looked at Dimitri's cold eyes and I saw my future. If I said no, he would kill Liam. I knew it. He had that look. The look of a man who had killed before. The look of a man who had nothing to lose. "I need time," I said. My voice was barely a whisper. "You have 1 week," Dimitri said. 1 week, Sophia. After that, I will come back with more than words. I will come back with fire." The window rolled up, and the car drove away, leaving tire marks on the clean street. I ran inside. I slammed the door. I leaned against it, breathing hard. Liam was at the kitchen table, sharpening a chisel on a stone, the sound of metal on stone. He looked up. His face went pale when he saw my face. "You saw him," he said. "He wants the password," I said. "He wants me to marry him. He offered me $5 million. Liam put down the chisel. He put his head in his hands. His shoulders shook. For the first time since I had known him, he sobbed out loud. Not quiet tears. Loud, ugly sobs. The sobs of a man who had been running for 10 years and had finally been caught. "Sophia, I have a plan," he said, lifting his head. His eyes were red. "But you have to trust me. It will take everything you have. It will take courage you don't know you have. It will take revenge." "Revenge for what?" "For the life they stole from both of us. Your father sold you to fix his reputation. My brother wants to kill me for money. We are pawns, Sophia, but pawns can become queens if they move correctly. 1 good move, 1 sacrifice. And we can be free." I sat down across from him. I took his rough hands in mine. "Tell me your plan." He leaned forward. His voice was low, almost a whisper. "We give Dimitri the password, but we change it first. We clear the account. We transfer the money to a charity, every penny. He will come to the meeting expecting 20 million, he will leave with nothing. Then we disappear. Not as Liam and Sophia, as new people. New names, new town. You will have your art, I will have my wood, we will be free. Won't he kill us? Not if we kill his reputation first. I have evidence of his crimes, money laundering, human trafficking through the Volkov shipping ports, bribes to 3 senators. I have been collecting it for 10 years, waiting for the right moment. We give it to the FBI, we send him to prison next to our father, together. Father and son. Side by side. I looked at this man, this quiet, sawdust-smelling man who had never raised his voice, and I realized I had never seen him fully until now. He was not weak. He was not a coward. He was a volcano covered in moss. A storm hiding behind a calm sky. How do we start? I asked. Tonight, he said. You call Dmitri, you tell him you have the password. You arrange a meeting at the old Volkov warehouse on the docks. It is abandoned. No cameras, no witnesses, no neighbors. We will be waiting with the FBI. Agent Harris. She has been waiting for this day for 10 years. My heart was pounding. And my father? Liam looked at me with soft eyes. Your father made his choice when he sold you to me. Now you make yours. You can be his daughter, or you can be your own woman. You cannot be both. I picked up the phone. The next 7 days were the longest of my life. I called Dmitri and told him I had the password. I told him I would give it to him at the old warehouse at midnight on Saturday. I told him I wanted the 5 million in cash at the meeting. He agreed, laughing. He thought I was a greedy American girl. He thought I was easy. He thought he had won. Liam contacted Agent Harris. She came to the house at night, dressed in dark clothes. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a quiet voice. She listened to the plan. She nodded. We have been watching Dmitri for years, she said. He has slipped through our fingers 3 times. He will not slip again. We will have a team of 12 agents. We will be in position by 11 p.m. Sophia, you will be in danger. Once Dmitri realizes the money is gone, he will be angry. He may try to hurt you. Are you sure you want to do this? I looked at Liam. He was standing by the window, watching the street. His back was straight. His hands were steady. I am sure, I said. Saturday came like a slow storm. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I paced the house all day. Liam did not go to work. He stayed with me. He made me tea. He held my hand. He did not say much. That was his way. At 8 p.m., I put on the red dress. Liam had bought it for me once, a year ago, for a dinner we never went to. The restaurant had closed before our reservation. It was the only beautiful thing he had ever given me. Red silk, it fit like a glove, I wore it like armor. Liam looked at me. You are beautiful, he said. I am scared, I said. Good, he said. Fear keeps you alive. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward anyway. At 10 p.m., we drove to the docks. The old Volkov warehouse stood at the end of a long, dark pier. It was a giant gray box with broken windows and a rusty roof. It smelled of fish and salt and decay. The moon was hidden behind clouds. The only light came from a single bulb hanging inside the warehouse door. Liam parked the truck 2 blocks away. Agent Harris and her team were already in position. They were hidden in shadows, in cars, on rooftops. I could not see them. That was the point. Liam kissed my forehead. Remember, he said. Give him the password. Let him type it in. Let him see the empty account. Then step back. The agents will do the rest. What if he has a gun? He will, but you are faster, you are smarter, you are Sophia. I walked alone toward the warehouse. The red dress fluttered in the cold wind. My heels clicked on the wet pavement. My heart was a drum. I pushed open the heavy door. The inside was vast and dark. The single light bulb hung from a wire, swinging slightly. Dmitri was there with 2 men. Big men, suits, sunglasses at midnight. They stood behind him like statues. Dmitri stood under the light. He smiled his wolf smile. He was wearing a black suit. His hair was perfect. His watch gleamed. Do you have the password, little sister? He asked. I have it, I said. My voice was steady. I surprised myself. But first, I want to see the money. He snapped his fingers. One of his men opened a duffel bag on a crate. Bundles of $100 bills. $5 million. It smelled like fresh paper. I did not care if it was real. I just needed time. Volkov, I said, using his real name. The password is rain on hot pavement. Dmitri laughed. It was a loud, ugly laugh. Romantic. My brother is a fool, a romantic fool, he always was. He pulled out a small laptop from his jacket, he opened it. He typed the password. He waited. His smile faded. He typed again. His face turned red, then white. "The account is empty," he whispered. His voice was different now, not smooth, broken. "Where is the money?" "It's gone," I said. "Every penny, $20 million, now in a fund for children of prisoners. Your father's victims. You get nothing, Dimitri, no money, no revenge, no brother to kill, nothing." He lunged at me. His hands reached for my throat. I saw the rage in his eyes. Pure, black rage. But before his fingers touched my skin, the warehouse exploded with light. Floodlights from every direction. The door crashed open. "FBI, drop your weapons. DIMITRIVOLKOV, you are under arrest." Agents swarmed like shadows. Dimitri's men raised their hands. Dimitri screamed. He tried to run. An agent tackled him to the ground. He fought. He kicked. He screamed curses in Russian, but they put handcuffs on his wrists. Tight, metal on bone. I stood there in my red dress, shaking so hard I thought my legs would give way. The cold wind came through the broken windows. I wrapped my arms around myself. Liam came out from behind a pillar. He was wearing his flannel shirt, same as always. His boots were wet. His eyes were wet. He walked to me. He took my hand. "It's over," he said. I looked at Dimitri on the ground. His perfect suit was dirty. His perfect hair was messy. His perfect smile was gone. He was just a man, a small, angry man in handcuffs. "It's over," I repeated, but it was not over. Nothing is ever over. That was the end of one story and the beginning of another. 2 days later, my father called me. I was sitting on the porch of Liam's small house, drinking coffee. The sun was warm. The birds were singing. "Sophia," my father said. His voice was shaking. "I heard about Dimitri's arrest. I heard about the $20 million going to charity. I heard you were there. What have you done?" "Justice, Dad," I said. "I did justice." He screamed at me for 10 minutes. He called me a traitor, a fool, an ungrateful daughter. He said I had ruined the family name forever. He said I would never be welcome in his house again. He said I was dead to him. I held the phone away from my ear and watched a butterfly land on the railing. It was orange and black. Beautiful. Free. When he stopped screaming, I put the phone back to my ear. "You sold me, Dad," I said. "You sold me like furniture. Now you have nothing. Not even a poor son-in-law to show off. I am not dead to you." "You are dead to me," he sputtered. "I am your father." "And I am your daughter," I said. "A daughter who learned to fight back. A daughter who learned that family is not blood. Family is who stays when the money is gone." I hung up. I did not cry. That was the last time I spoke to my father. He died 7 years later, alone in a nursing home. I did not go to the funeral. My mother called me. She had finally found her voice. She said she understood. She said she was proud of me. We talk every Sunday now. Liam and I moved to a small town in Oregon. We bought a little white house on a hill surrounded by pine trees. He built a workshop in the backyard. He builds furniture, beautiful things. Tables that will last 100 years. Chairs that hold families together. I opened a small gallery in town. I sell paintings. Not famous ones, local artists. But I also paint now. I never knew I could paint until I was free. My paintings are of rain on hot pavement, of sawdust and coffee, of a man with rough hands and quiet eyes. We have a simple life, but it is ours. No lies, no secrets, no black cards, no hidden names. Liam still dreams in Russian sometimes. He still whispers, "No, don't fall." I hold him when he does. I stroke his hair. I tell him he is safe. He is home. I still wake up shaking some nights. The fear never fully leaves. But that is okay. Fear is not the enemy. Silence is the enemy. Secrets are the enemy. The revenge was not sweet. It was bitter and cold, but it was justice. And justice, I have learned, is the only revenge worth taking. Revenge destroys. Justice builds. Revenge makes you small. Justice makes you whole. I am Sophia. Once a pawn, now a queen. I do not have a crown. I do not have a castle. I have a small white house, a man who loves me, and a life I chose. That is more than enough. That is everything.